Alright guys, so today I'm here to talk to you about two things. Two pieces of equipment that I got this last week, and it is the best vaping setup I've had ever, I think. And what I got is the Hammer of God V2 and the Temple RDA. I know these have been out for a while, but I haven't really seen full-on, like, decent reviews, just kind of people in vape shops just, wow, look at those clouds. I wanted to show you kind of what they are, kind of what they do, and what the components look like. So, here they are together. This is my new setup, my new favorite setup. This is the Hammer of God V2. You have a Temple RDA sitting on top of it. They're both, I mean, absolutely gorgeous. These are beautiful. The Temple cost me, I think it was $70. The Hammer of God cost me $190. So we're not talking about a cheap setup, but we're talking about the best damn setup I've seen in a long time. So both of these are authentic. It's really hard to find these authentic online, especially these Hammer of God V2s. I mean, I had to scour the internet for an actual authentic one. And I even called in to Vaperz Cloud to make sure that these were authentic. Oh, by the way, these are both made by Vaperz Cloud. So here's the overview of what the Hammer of God V2 is, for those of you who don't know. It is a para-series mod, which means it takes 4 batteries, 4 18650 batteries. So I'll show you how this works. They're split into pairs. So there's a pair of batteries on either side. So there's 2 right here. Took the battery sled off. And there's 2 right here. See this? So both of these pairs that I had just showed you, those are in parallel, okay? And then up at the tippy top, up in here, there's a little microchip, there's a little wire, and it takes these 2 parallel circuits and wires them in series. So you have the benefits of both a parallel mod and a series mod, which is fantastic. It's great. I love it. So what that means is on a full charge, you'll be pushing 8.4 volts if you know, in a perfect world. We're not talking about voltage drop, yada, 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 yada. You get double the voltage, so 8.4 volts on a full charge, and you get double the safe discharge of whatever batteries you're using. So, and I know, it's not exactly double, it's like 80% or whatever, but if you have something that's a 30 amp pulse discharge, which I have I think they're LG, the HB6 batteries, 30 amp pulse is pretty safe to say. So I have 8.4 volts and a 60 amp discharge limit for this thing, which is insane. Which means you can push low builds to really high wattages and not blow your face up, not blow your hands off. So here's just kind of what you get. So we'll talk about the Hammer of God first. So that's what the Hammer of God is. So it's a para-series mod. Okay, it's pretty simple. It just has 2 sides, 2 of these little doors, as I showed you, to put your batteries in. Okay, and when you're putting these batteries in, these are what you use to screw them in, secure them in place, so that the circuit works perfectly. On the bottom, you have a little meter right here that tells you the volts that you are pushing through your coil, and I'm pretty sure that this thing actually accounts for voltage drop, because I've never seen it read 8.4. I'm not 100% sure, but I've only seen it get up to, like, I don't know, 7.2 or something like that. And so I think it takes into account the voltage drop going through your coils and stuff like that, which I think is pretty neat. And so it kind of tells you exactly what wattage you're getting. You have your little button right here. So this just weep, weep. So you kind of set it off. Here, I'll take where's my juice? We'll take a couple little toots on this thing before we go down and take a look at some of the things that I came into problems with this setup. Oh, also, this thing's a 30mm RDA. I mean, you can dump half a bottle of juice in this, and you're not going to overdrip it. It's fucking insane. So here, I'll take a couple hits on it. Oh, it's thick. It's really, really thick. Really flavorful. So this thing hits like a champ. It has a lot of power coming through it. That's from a .27 build. So that's the Hammer of God. Now the Temple. So as I said, these are both made by Paradigm Vapes. So the Temple, we'll go with airflow. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's fucking insane how much airflow you can get on this thing. And there's really a lot of options. So let's see if I can get this thing to be full open. There we go. So that's what full open airflow looks like on this. I cannot fathom a world in which you would need this much airflow. I mean, I cannot imagine what kind of coil you'd have to put in here to want this much airflow. I mean, it's just going to be a really airy draw. I'll take a poof on them. I don't think it'd be that good. Of course, with more airflow, you're going to get more vapor and less flavor. I like both. So I'm kind of on the fence between clouds and flavor. I don't need enormous clouds because I'm not a dick in public. But if I'm sitting around with my friends and we're all vaping or I'm in the vape shop, of course I'm going to blow some clouds. Because it is, after all, a dick measuring contest with clouds. And the most important thing is flavor. But I like both. I like to have thick, flavorful vapor, but I like to get a good bit of it. So I keep this thing probably... Let's see, where's my setting? It's right here. So that's about where I keep it. Bottom airflow stays open, and then the top, I don't know how well you can see that. Now I have it kind of cut off. I have the little 3 pyramids up there about half open. There's a lot of different airflow options. It's kind of weird how it works, but that's how I use it. So this Temple RDA is 30 millimeters. It's absolutely massive. Let me find an RDA to compare this to. So I have a little Troll RDA. This is like my first one. Don't judge me. It's actually not that bad of an RDA, but definitely not my favorite. So I'm going to show you this. So these are the same distance. So there's our Temple, right? There's our Temple RDA. Here's our Troll. I mean, this thing compared to this, it's massive. I mean, it's a huge RDA, but it fits and looks very nice on this Hammer of God because the Hammer of God's pretty big. But it's also handy. The Hammer of God with the amount of batteries that you're putting in this thing and the amount of power it's producing, it still fits in your hand, which is something that's great for me. I mean, unless you have really small hands, this thing's comfortable to hold. It doesn't hurt at all. It's heavy, but it's not too clunky or anything like that. It's a square, so here, I'll show you compared to my hand. That's how big it is compared to my hand. I mean, it's really not that big of a mod. They did their best to save space given the kind of mod they were trying to make. So, I mean, I can kind of this is how I hold it. So I have my fingers on this side. I kind of have my thumb just rest on this side. I mean, I can wrap it all the way around if I want. But my thumb just kind of rests over here, up here. I have my hand on this trigger. And then just, weep. Let's see what it looks like coming off of this thing. It's insane. So, the best thing about this Temple RDA is not just the insane amount of airflow options that you have, but also it's a velocity style RDA, and I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, velocity style is the easiest RDA to build on, by far. I build with giant, weird Claptons that are huge and hard to fit through. This thing's post holes are 3 millimeters. So you can put whatever you want through there. I mean, put a coat hanger through it. I don't care. You can put it through there. So you can fit any shit that you want in here. The biggest Claptons you can build can fit in this comfortably. And you don't have to worry about clipping wires really close to the deck or anything because they just fit. It's the velocity style. It's a great setup. I love this kind of an RDA. Not to mention, it's so big that, look, I have these giant coils, a ton of cotton, and the air flows straight up under these coils and through them. I mean, it's great. I have absolutely no complaints with this RDA. It also comes with a black option, so you can switch this cap out for a black one that has this Temple logo in gold, and then it's black all around. I like the gold just because I just got it, and I feel like being a flashy motherfucker with it. It's a cool setup. I really like it. So the one last thing I want to mention about the Hammer of God is that it has this. This is your little fire button, right? And you can lock it. So you twist it this way, and it's locked. And I can't do anything with it. But I can twist it back this way, and all of a sudden we're lighting up. You can see a little voltmeter. Watch. Boop. Still 6.23. So it doesn't immediately show you the voltage going through. And like I said, I think it calculates in voltage drop, which is really neat. And yeah, so that's kind of the gist of it. Now I'm going to take you up close and I'm going to show you the two problems that I ran into with this Hammer of God. I have not run into a single problem with the Temple. Alright, y'all. When I say I don't have a very nice setup, I'm not kidding. This is me holding my camera just so you guys can kind of get a picture what I'm doing. So I'll be doing all of this one-handed. So here's what the Hammer of God looks like. Okay, stripped down to its little naked parts. You can see here the two different battery sleds, one on this side and then one on this side. So it's a pretty simple device. It's got one microchip kind of sitting up, focus, sitting up in here, if you can see that. There it is. The microchip sitting up in there. This this bottom part, this is the 510 that's sitting up in there. And it kind of comes down, and the way this works, since it's just a mechanical mod, is as you press this button, see if I can get it to press this button, beep, makes connection right there. Just completes the circuit. So you press this button in, it hits that little metal cylinder, and you're firing. That's it. So fully mechanical. Well, not fully. It's not purely mechanical because it does have a little bit of wiring in it, but it's a mech mod for all intents and purposes. So beep beep. Alright, so here are the two problems that I have found with this mod. Okay, the first one is that you see this little metal thing in here. Whoops. The little metal thing right in there that moves to make contact with the middle thing. Sorry, this is so shitty. That moves to make contact with the middle thing right there. That one that moves when I press the button. That actually came loose. And my little firing switch came out, and while I had 4 18650 batteries in here, this thing was rattling around making random connection within this RDA, which is extremely dangerous. It was sparking and popping, and I realized that I didn't explain myself very well. So here's what I'm talking about. When I refer to the little plunger, I am talking about this little silver piece right here. And earlier in the video you would see it sitting up right in there. Okay, so the way this trigger works is it's spring-loaded, as you can see there, and it would normally go up in here, so that's a little hole, that's where I took it out. So the way this thing works is that this part with the spring sits up in here. So here's your spring. I'll scoot this back. Here's your spring and trigger right here. So that sits up in here, so that controls your bounce. So when you're using this thing, do you see how when you push it down, this thing goes through and it's spring-loaded? Okay, so on the other side of that, you have this silver trigger, or the silver connector. And when you push this, when you push this down, okay, this is connected to the other side, and it goes, let's see if I can give you, so bink, bam, bam, and it makes an electrical connection right there. And that's how you complete your circuit. So the main issue that we were having is that the way you lock this is you turn it one way or the other. So you'll turn it this way to lock it and then turn it this way to unlock it, which is great, except when the spring is pulling this up, it actually takes this silver piece and holds it up against the wall. So what happens is when you go to lock and unlock it, this part remains stationary, this silver part right here remains stationary while this turns. And what does that mean? Well, that means that it starts to unscrew itself as you lock and unlock this thing if you're not careful. So that's what I'm talking about. So what happens is this thing can come loose if you do that enough. When this thing stays stationary and you go to lock it and unlock it enough, this will unscrew itself, or it can, and it did for me, and fall loose into here. So now you're not controlling the connection, and it's kind of sitting in here and just making connection however it feels like. It's hitting the microchip and it's hitting the connector. So that is it's kind of a short. Well, it's the same thing as kind of holding your mod down for minutes and minutes and minutes, and if you have a build that's really only safe at maybe 10-second pulses, 5-second pulses, which is probably what you're going to have in here, then it might end up shorting your batteries out, blowing them up, or venting, or kind of depends on how the battery's feeling. So that's what I'm talking about in this section. It's just that this trigger assembly the way that it's made, it might unscrew itself. It can unscrew itself, and that's a very dangerous thing. The locking mechanism works, but the way the locking mechanism works also means that your screw might unscrew itself. I think that's a definite design flaw with this thing. It's definitely something to be aware of if you buy this mod. And the remedy for this is that when you go to lock it, instead of just holding it there, kind of push it in a little bit and then twist it. And then it won't come loose. It's a small malfunction that can lead to very, very, very big problems. Now, the other issue with this thing that is also dangerous is these down here. So as you can see, when you go to unscrew the batteries, you screw them into place right here. Okay, these things, you see those little rings, those little plastic rings that kind of come out? There it goes. Focus, focus, focus. Those will sometimes come out. And the bottom line is, these things have popped out on me on the occasion, and I can't pull them out right now, but it will happen when you're unscrewing them. Normally this would just be an aesthetic issue, but it's actually a design issue, because if those things are not in there, these little black rings aren't around these screws when you're screwing them in, and you have a metal screwdriver that touches this, that is touching both the screw and the side of the mod, it actually shorts. So that's actually another hard short, and it'll zzzt, zzzt, and you get those buzzing, fiery little electrical zapping things from it. And again, I called Vaperz Cloud to verify that this was an authentic Hammer of God V2, and they verified that it is indeed an authentic mod. So we're not talking about a clone here. This is the $190 version, authentic Hammer of God. So, those are the two really, really big flaws with it. I need to mention that up front, because those are two flaws that can prove to be very dangerous. Now, of course, if anything starts buzzing or anything inside of any e-cigarette, especially mechanical mods, your first action should be to take your batteries out. Which I figured out that, like, if you're trying to take your batteries out and one of these things has come off, you can actually just put this around your screwdriver, and as long as it's around the screwdriver while you're screwing, you won't get any shocks, and then you can kind of just hammer it in. I usually use the end of the screwdriver when I go back to screw these in. I just kind of pound them into the bottom, and they'll stay put. So those are the two biggest flaws with this thing. But those are the only flaws, mind you. The other feature of this mod is that it has a little volt reader, so it shows you how much volts are actually going through your coil. It's not going to read 8.4, so you actually get to see the amount of voltage drop that you have with your setup and with this mod. So, you know, on a full charge, when I'm clicking this and I have this 0.271 setup in here, it actually only pushes, like, I think it's 7.03 volts is the total power I'm getting with the voltage drop of the mod and my RDA and my coil setup. So that's it up and close. I mean, other than that, it's pretty simple. It's got a little voltmeter. It's mechanical series, series parallel. So I guess they're calling these para-series mods now. And there's your little 510. That fits like a glove. That's an adjustable 510 pin, by the way. So you can make anything fit on this comfortably, and it'll sit flush. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this back together with my battery, put some batteries in it, because now all my issues are fixed and it's not going to kill me to use it. And I'll keep my eyes and my hands with me, and I'll bring it back up and we'll talk about it a little more, just how it performs and what it's like using this thing. So those are the two biggest flaws. One being that sometimes this button wants to come undone and it wants to let the little metal rattle around and try to blow you up. The other one is sometimes these want to come out and try to blow you up while you are taking your batteries in and out. And those are two serious design flaws. Those are big points against buying this Hammer of God. So what does that mean? Would I recommend that you buy one of these? Yes. As crazy as that sounds, yes, absolutely. In a heartbeat, I would pick one of these up. And here's why. I would not recommend someone who is a beginner buying one of these. These are not idiot-proof. There are design flaws that can be very dangerous with this. I would recommend this for people that are advanced vapers, that have owned many mechanical mods, that are very, very familiar with battery chemistry and how these mech mods work, and who can build coils and who can use RDAs and who can use these kinds of mods safely and know what to do if your e-cigarette is going into some sort of a meltdown. People who know how to do that, this thing is fucking awesome. I mean, I cannot explain enough how good this is. But there are some flaws that make it dangerous. They're not flaws that make it not work. They're flaws that make it dangerous. So, but absolutely, this is one of the only Para series mods on the market. I mean, I think you can get these things custom made. Some people 3D print them, and they're like this fucking big. I mean, they're huge. This is a small Para series mod that does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's going to give you 8.4 volts, and it's going to let you drop 60 amps through these batteries. And I mean, it's fantastic. It hits so well. I would absolutely recommend for advanced vapors out there to pick up a Hammer of God. You will not regret it. You probably won't go back to another RDA or back to another mod because it's that good. I mean, I am that impressed by this thing. Just the performance is fucking unbelievable. And with the Temple on top of this thing, both of these are made by Vaperz Cloud. Earlier, I misspoke and said they were Paradigm. It's Vaperz Cloud that makes these. I mean, this is some top-notch stuff right here. This is the cutting edge. I mean, Para series mods are phenomenal. I mean, they're incredible. If I see another Para series mod out on the market, I'm gonna buy it. So that kind of wraps it up. It's a pretty simple parallel series mechanical mod. It has a couple issues. Both of these are fixable. I mean, they're both totally fixable and totally avoidable once you know that the problems are there. And the Temple Velocity style, massive amount of airflow. You can fit literally anything in here. It is absolutely worth picking up if you have this. This is my absolute favorite setup. If you guys have any questions, comments, or just want more videos like this, I might make some. I don't know. I only make these when I really feel compelled to. But yeah, that's going to be it. Temple RDA, Hammer of God V2, put them together. Whoop! This shit is ridiculous. I'll see you guys whenever I make another one of these. Thank you.